Hello everyone. In today's lecture I'm going to introduce you to Grasshopper inside Rhino. For those of you who don't know about our project, we are trying to build an educational platform for architects, designers, enthusiasts who are interested in computational design. So I advise you guys to check our website. So before we start, let me show you the Grasshopper 3D. So if you type in Grasshopper 3D and if you get inside, you can see what Grasshopper is. It's actually a visual programming. It's kind of scripting. It's built by C#, and they have made scripting very easy for architects and people who don't have any background in scripting to build kind of computational designing system and visualize kind of design systems using that program. There has been recently development in other softwares also, but build up visual script. For example, you have inside Rhinoceros, you have this Grasshopper, and also if you go to Dynamo revit, they also have the Dynamo script. This is also a visual programming that's kind of have similar interface to Grasshopper, but has been developed recently afterwards. So we might also come up here and introduce you guys to the software also a little bit, but for the time being we're gonna stick to the Grasshopper. So the Grasshopper is a plugin inside the Rhinoceros software. So if you install Rhinoceros 5 or 6, it actually comes with the program now. You don't have to install it. And if you go to the standard, you can see the plugin here, the green plugin. You can launch Grasshopper from here, or you can simply type in Grasshopper and it should pop up. And if you hit enter, then Grasshopper should pop up here. And so that's the Grasshopper menu here. Let me go to the full screen. So here you can see this is the title bar where you have the menu name, like whatever file name you have. And secondly, here we have the menu bar where you can start a new document or open a new document, save a document, or export quick image of your script. And this is the edit where you can copy or paste. You have the view tab where you can control the view of your Grasshopper canvas, and here you have the display, and here you can you can see how your icons are gonna be presented. And then we have the component libraries. These are all of the libraries we have. You can install them, and you can also it comes with some built-in libraries, and you can add libraries to the canvas. I can actually show you how to install a library inside Grasshopper later on. Today is going to be just the interface. And here is the canvas where you can actually drop and build your script here. And here you have the status bar where it shows you the occasional display, and sometimes it's useful if you have some kind of load or timer. If you are using a timer, it's gonna pop out the time here. So for you to start with the Grasshopper, you can simply start with the first components. You can drag and drop any of these components here from the menu to the canvas. For example, I can drag this and drop it here, and that's if I zoom in. That's if I hover over, it says point, so that is a point, and I can actually display it like this. Or if I go to display and I go draw fancy wires and draw full name, if I remove this draw icon, then I can see it says this is a point. I can drag and drop the point from here or here, or I can also double click here on the canvas and type in points, and it should show up here. So that's a point here. And this is actually like the first menu from the Grasshopper called params, which are the parameters. These are the parameters that you are bringing from the Rhino inside Grasshopper. So if you have a geometry inside Rhino and if you want to reference it inside Grasshopper, you can reference it here. So basically what you do is, for example, if we have a point, and if I drag a point from the menu here, and if I drop it into the Grasshopper, now I have this point here. How do I reference it inside Grasshopper? I simply bring a point here, and I right click on this point, and I say set one point, and that's gonna be the point I reference. So now this point is referenced here. Now if I move this point somewhere else, now this point is referenced wherever I move it. It's interacting with the point in the Rhino canvas because it's connected. And what if I have like another point? I can bring another point here. Let me draw another point. This is the second point, and I can bring another point here and then right click and set another point, and that's gonna be my second point here. What if I wanna reference a group of points? Then I can drag multiple points. If I go multiple points like this, alright, let me delete this one, and let's say set multiple points. So that's gonna be, let me select all of them, and that's gonna select all of them and hit enter, and if I click it, then it's gonna turn green. That means all of the points are selected. What if I want to reference a line? So let's delete these points. Let's say I have a curve or a line. Let me draw it here. So for some reason it was lagging. So if I start drawing a line or a curve, but if I have this line and I want to reference it inside Grasshopper, I simply go here. There is something called curve, and if I click it and I bring it here, I can simply right click one curve and then reference it, and now I have the curve inside Grasshopper turned green. What if I have something like a plane or like a surface? Let's bring a surface here and let's start drawing a surface. Now I have this surface, and if I want to reference it inside the Grasshopper, I can bring the actually surface component here. Here is my surface component, right click, set one surface, and that's gonna be the surface I have. And now you can see it red, and the red color means that the surface is referenced inside Grasshopper, and if I select it, it's turning green. That means this surface is the one selected inside the Rhino canvas. What if I have a geometry, like a 3D geometry, like a box? Now if I have this rectangle, like this box here, and if I want to reference it inside my canvas, I can simply type in BRUP here and set one BRUP, and I can select it, and that's gonna be selected inside my Grasshopper. What if I have something like, let's see, a mesh? Let me make another box and then turn it into mesh. Let's hit OK. Let me delete the extrusion. And now I have this mesh selected, but if I want to reference this mesh here into the Grasshopper, I have two options. One is to bring the mesh here and right click. So look, now this mesh is selected. If I right click here, it's going to directly be referenced without me clicking it because it's already highlighted. As you can see, it's directly referenced inside the Grasshopper. Now if I click this curve is going to be selected. If I click the surface, that's going to be selected. View up and then mesh. So if I select all of them is now selected. And that's how you reference a geometry from the Rhino into Grasshopper. So now let's start with the points again. Let's make point, let's type a point and then make another point and let's reference them here. So let's put 1 point here and then 1 point here and let's set 1 point and then set the second point. Now I have 2 points. What if I want to connect these 2 points together? I can bring a line. So if you double click here and if you type in line here, line, so this line requires point 1 and point 2, and if you want to know where did we bring this line from, you can go to curve here, alright, and if you go inside the curve tab you can see the line here. And let's say we don't know where this line is from. If you click Ctrl Alt and then select the component, it's going to tell you where that component is inside the Grasshopper canvas. Sometimes it's important for especially in the beginning, if you are learning it, to know where this component is. So if you click Ctrl Alt and then click the component, it's going to show you where that component is inside the Grasshopper canvas. So now we have this line. It requires starting point. So the starting point, we can say this is the starting point, and the end point, this is now the end point. And if I move one of the points, the line is gonna stick and it's gonna stay with that curve here. So that's very important. Here comes the power of the visual programming, where you are actually creating a system. So if you change the inputs, the outputs updates automatically. It's worth mentioning that inside the Grasshopper we start from left to right. So we start from here all the way here. Usually these are the inputs and this is the output of your data. So basically this is like it's a script with C# that says that takes one input called point and take the second endpoint, which is also a point, and the output is a connected line between these 2 points, and it gives me a curve as an output. So if I grab a panel here, this is called a panel. This is very, very useful. It shows you what's inside this line here. Even if you hover inside, it shows you what's inside, says line L and gives you the dimension. But if I connect it to this panel here, it shows me more clearly what's exactly inside this point, inside this component here, and it's giving me this line here. What if I want to connect multiple points to this point here? So let's bring more points. let's say a group of points, right? Let me delete the first point or the second point. So this is my first point, as you can see, and these are the second point. I want to connect all of them here. So let's say select multiple points and let's select them, hit enter. Now you can see all of them are selected at this point. If I move it, all of them moves with my point. Now that's the how you reference one or multiple objects inside Grasshopper. And then let's go back to only one point, set one point, let's set this one. Alright, let me actually have them as alright, so that's point 1 and that's point 2 and that's the line. You can actually change how your points display. I think it's inside display, preview point, for example, if you want to preview them as dots or as X or as a cross or as a dot, it's up to you. You can choose whatever preferences you have. But if we want to pipe this line, you can go to surface and then you can see here the component pipe. What that does is it needs a curve or like a line as a reference, and if we connect this line to this curve, now it became a pipe. So if I change the position of these points here, the pipe dimension and the direction will change directly, simultaneously corresponding with the point positions. Now what if I want to change the radius of this pipe? How do I do that? So to do that, we need to insert a number here. So to insert a number, we need a number slider. Where do we get the number slider from? We get it from here. We click number slider. This is a number slider and we type it. We connect it here, and if I change the number slider, you can see the radius of the pipe is changing. What if this is now going from 0 all the way to 1. What if I want to go more? I double click the number slider and I can have it like the floating number or integer number or even or like odd numbers. It's up to you. And here you can set the minimum or the maximum. Let's say the maximum is 10 and let's have it as an integer and starts from 0. Let's hit OK. Now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 10. So that is the integer. And what if I don't want to see this line here? If I want to hide it, I can right click and then say preview off. Now it's grayed off, and that means it's I don't want to see this line here. But if I want to hide these points, I can right click and then hide them here, preview off, and I can only see the pipe. But if I want to bring this pipe back to the Rhino canvas, as you can see now, I cannot select it from the Rhino canvas. If I want to select this pipe from here, I can right click and then say bake. What that will do is it's gonna bake this geometry into the Rhino canvas, and it's asking me which layer you want to bake it to and which color. Do you want to group it or not? If you have a multiple, it's useful to group them, and you hit OK. Now you can see it baked inside my Rhino canvas. Now this geometry is baked. If you shade it, now we can see it baked. You can actually right click on the caps and say floating cap or round cap. Let's bake it again. Yes, now we can see this geometry baked. But now if we change the dimension of this geometry, these geometries will no more correspond with it because it's already baked inside Rhino, and they are no more connected to the geometry here. Now what if I want to set multiple points? Let's set multiple points here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's delete one of these and let's select. Hold on, where is that point though? Oh, so that's that point. Let's select the other point here, set multiple points, enter. Now we can see all of these points are connected to this line here, and if we change the radius, all of them correspond with this point here. Now what if I want to set, like, arrange this point more, where I have, this is the first point, second point, third point, and then I want to have corresponding points here. So I want to connect these points with this one. What I do is I can say set multiple points, and then the second set is set these points here. As you can see now, it's cross-referenced. Now the one option is to move these here and move this one. I think that's going to be the easiest one. Yeah. Now as you can see, let me bring a data list here. We have 3 points referenced from this set, and we are connecting them to these 3 data sets together as a line. And then after we are connecting them as lines, 1, 2, 3, then we are piping the 3 of them. So that's how you connect two different data sets together and creating a new data set of all of them. If we can, let's look at the final result. Now we have 3 geometries, 3 pair ups, and if we bake them, let's bake and then say yes, group them. Now we have them as a group. What happened here? Alright, now we can see the 3 geometries baked inside the Rhino canvas. That's it for today, guys. I hope this was useful for the beginning and introducing you guys to the Grasshopper.